going on, dudes and dudettes? So yeah, Regal. I don't know if it's just Regal or a couple other of those movie theater chains for doing a 25-year anniversary re-release of one of my favorite movies from 1999, The Mummy. Went to go see that again in theaters. Probably my only second time. I don't really remember watching it more than once back then, but that was pretty cool. One of the better experiences I remember in the movies way back when. So yeah, it's pretty cool to watch it once again in a theater. Definitely was very happy about that. And then, speaking of a lot of USC stuff in this video, there is a Stanford forward in Kiki Iriafen. Hope I'm saying that correct. She recently has intended to transfer to USC to play for the women's basketball side. So obviously it looks like the women's basketball team is kind of making this super team, as what some people are already saying. Obviously, there's still some pretty good players out there. I know that Oregon State player, Talia something, Van Horsen. Remember we talked about her recently. I think they were together on that USC trip. So we'll see if she ends up coming as well. And then it's also that really good girl, Haley Van Lith, that's out there from LSU, but I think she might be going to TCU, but that's still kind of up in the air too, because maybe that was pre-reported or not sure. But to get any one of those other two players would be pretty nice to play alongside Juju for this next season. So we'll definitely be looking forward to that. Then there was this Auburn wide receiver who recently visited USC. I was going to talk about that the other day, but luckily I waited until today to talk about USC, and it looks like it became official where he is committing a transfer to USC to play wide receiver. He's not a really big guy. He's probably like 5'10", but very fast. Not as fast as, say, like a Zachariah Branch, but he's a nice mix, and I think he's a little bit taller maybe than Zachariah, so he'll be a nice blend of multiple guys on the field. And the only good thing, too, is that he has 2 years of eligibility. That does not mean that they are going to stay the full 2 years, but at least for this one season, he could try to test it out, see how he does in a Lincoln Riley type of offense that plays forward wide receivers pretty constantly, if he does end up becoming one of those main four. And if not, they like to rotate quite a bit too, so as long as you're like top 6, top 7, top 8 on the depth chart at wide receiver, you should be fine. And hopefully, I don't think this is going to make any of the younger guys like an Xavier Jordan, who recently signed over this last recruiting class, or a couple of the younger guys want to feel like they got to leave, like a Jacoby Lane. I don't think so. So luckily, it's just to add more depth, and I think they already knew about that recently. And if they already knew about that, then they would have already been in the portal, in my opinion. So yeah, some pretty big transfers from other schools that are coming into multiple sports at USC. And I recently updated you on the USC Trojans that were selected in the first 2 days. Now with the final day 3, a couple more guys were selected. It was the offensive tackle and Jared Kingston. He went round 6, pick 215 to the 49ers. It was a little bit surprising just because I thought maybe he had a chance in the 7th, but most likely was going to go undrafted. But when you're being picked by a team that's contending for a Super Bowl pretty recently the past couple of seasons, and that's got to be a pretty good thing for yourself, that they actually see a lot of talent in him, which is what USC saw as well. It just never came to fruition, and I guess he was dealing with injuries too, maybe, while at USC this last year, but looks like he's okay, and 49ers took a chance on him, so we'll see how that goes. And I know the next pick was for my LA Chargers. They ended up picking up the wide receiver Brendan Rice, round 7, pick 225. Obviously, he's the son of Jerry Rice, so you're hoping just even half of that talent, or a little bit of that. I'll take a quarter of that talent will be put in him, and he'll be able to help out this Chargers offense. I mean, seeing how talented he is, and a lot of us were pretty surprised, especially Chargers fans, that we were still able to get him in the 7th. We were kind of all projecting, and it would be pretty awesome just to get him maybe in the 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th round, but to get him all the way in the 7th, it's pretty crazy. I didn't hear anything about like him having bad interviews or stuff like that, and maybe it was just his ability to separate down the field or in certain areas from certain type of defenders. But he did make like a lot of plays down the field too with Caleb Williams, so I don't really know what they're talking about, but yes, it's pretty awesome. I think the second set of now ex Hall of Famers with their sons playing for the Chargers, because obviously Joe Alt's father was an ex-player as well. So that's pretty cool that they got two sets of sons with ties to the NFL already. That's pretty awesome. And then in round 7, a couple picks later, it was the defensive end Solomon Byrd in round 7, 238 to the Houston Texans. So they double dip with USC guys. They picked Kalen Bullock the night before, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, they probably were kind of honed in on the defense and looked and saw that he was doing pretty good. Byrd is a pretty good guy. I think he's actually from Palmdale, which is pretty cool. That's where I grew up first couple years on this earth. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see a guy from there get picked. And yeah, he was the transfer from Wyoming. So yeah, he only stayed like 2 years with USC, but definitely showed out and was able to get drafted here in the 7th round. So that was nice to see. And then surprisingly, a wide receiver, Tahj Washington, went round 7, 238 to the Dolphins. He was a guy that I was assuming he was going to get picked maybe a little bit higher for my LA Chargers, like in the 5th round. But yeah, I guess this is where he was supposed to end up dropping, and luckily the Miami Dolphins picked him up. But it could be trouble too, because now they picked up another player right before that, another receiver, and he's like another track star type of guy, ran low 4s in the 40-yard dash. So yeah, they just have a bunch of track athletes out there for the Dolphins, and yeah, it's gonna be crazy to see. But yeah, congrats to him, and yeah, we'll see. I'm not gonna say we'll see. I know he's gonna make the roster for the Dolphins, so that's pretty cool. And then a couple of guys who went undrafted but got a couple of deals signed. It was the ex-running back Austin Jones. He signed with the Washington Commanders. So yeah, they even took Austin Eckler, the ex-Charger, in free agency. So we'll see how they do. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive coordinator there, so he has some ties there, and that's why he mostly signed there to maybe get onto the roster, hopefully in the end. So good luck to Austin Jones. And then the cornerback Christian Roland-Wallace signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. So yes, I wish him a great career, even if he's with the Chiefs the whole time, but just play pretty bad when you're playing against the Chargers a couple of those times and maybe in the playoffs. But other than that, yeah, it's a nice opportunity for him. We'll see if he ends up sticking around there, but getting signed, that's a big deal too. And there was an offensive lineman, Justin Dedich, signed with the LA Rams, so still staying local. I thought he might have had a chance to get drafted. He's a very talented high school player, but he could play multiple positions on the interior of the offensive line, so that's a pretty good pickup for the LA Rams. And then there was one final guy, I believe it was the defensive lineman, excuse me, Keon Bars, got a camp invite to the Tennessee Titans, so it's not 100% official. He's going to make the roster or even kind of signed to a contract, but as long as you show out and perform well, they do pretty good, I think, in Bars. So yeah, good luck to all those guys. In 2025, USC quarterback commit Julian Juju Lewis did get an Elite 11 Finals invitation, so obviously he's one of the more prolific incoming freshman quarterbacks out there, and if you're making it far in that Elite 11 competition, then you're doing pretty good. I know a lot of the top guys who are even playing right now in the NFL went through that program, so yeah, it's pretty good to see. And then there was a pretty good 4-star 2025 edge player in Justin Hill, who said USC is going to be in his Final Four right now. I think he's looking to pretty soon have a commitment date. He didn't say exactly when, but yeah, that's pretty good to be on the finals list for one of the top 4-star players in 2025. And then there was a 2025 4-star offensive tackle, Aaron Dunn, who set up an official visit May 31st to USC. So yeah, at least they're looking at a lot of the talented guys, especially now on the offensive line. He's a very tall dude as well. So yeah, we'll see where that ends up. And then I believe to end off this video, the #1 USC women's beach volleyball team beat the #2 women's beach volleyball team in UCLA 3-0 in that competition for the Pac-12 championship. So nice final year and multiple of these sports for USC, and they're winning the championship, so that's pretty cool for them. Obviously, especially the beach volleyball team, the women's side has been pretty dominant over the past handful of years, so not really surprising here. Hopefully they get another national championship in the end. But yeah, it's nice to get that Pac-12 championship under the belt as well. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye if I don't.